And hello, welcome back, Worldwide Wolves, coming at you right after a huge must-win game versus the Hornets. I'm glad we're going to be here talking about a win, but in case you're new here, I'm Cooper Carlson. Across from me is Jake Painting, host of the Howls and Growls YouTube channel, Worldwide Wolves, because I'm here in Pittsburgh. And you, Jake, are in Australia. How are you doing? How's Australia? How's everything?
Yes, I'm doing very well. It is hot here, good hot. You don't know who Oasis is,
No,
so
no, I
that's where I
don't.
was last night. Which, if you're in the comments, please tell Cooper to go on YouTube and just doodle one song in his life.
I went to a
Um,
Sabrina Carpenter concert recently. You know that? You know her?
yeah, I'm gonna leave this chat
Different
right now.
styles? Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Hey, it was with
Um,
the girl. All right.
But yeah, I am, I'm not feeling great this morning, but it was a good game to watch. It was good to get a little bit of, respite from the Timberwolves being terrible all the time. So yeah, I messaged you yesterday and said, please win today. So we have something good to talk about. So, yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, and this podcast, it tends to have a sort of negative angle, I think, but more in a way of like this is how they improve. It's not we don't
Hmm.
want to be negative. I think we're positive people, and
Hmm.
we're going to use that positivity today to kind of take the Hornets game is what it is, and just kind of the good things that came from it. Is it sustainable? Was it just an effect of you're playing the Hornets, and just kind of branch off and why didn't this stuff happen earlier? And yeah, just go over some stuff that we like from this game and broaden it out for the overall Wolves. But before we begin, they are 3-3 after 6 games. Net rating 15th, offensive rating 11th, defensive rating 15th. Very middle of the pack team, and that, as we were saying before we hit record, the least surprising thing I think I've ever seen. Real nice. It's good, but yeah, just starting off with this Hornets win. I'll throw it to you. What was something positive that you came away with that you think maybe can either be replicated or not?
Yeah, well, I think you need to start with the defense, because first of all, the defense has been terrible, obviously this season, and that's been a big problem. But second of all, that the Hornets have been a really good offensive team. Like you can kind of treat this game as a
Fourth in the league, I
win.
think, before today.
Yeah. Like you can treat this game as a win against a bad team, which it is. But it also was a win against a really great offense so far this season. And we did see it at periods of this game that they are high powered. The Hornets, obviously LaMelo, who never seems to play well against Minnesota. But Miles Bridges was going off, which is horrible.
Yep.
And they have a lot of great weapons there, and they've been playing really well. So to hold them to a 104 offensive rating is really good. And it didn't feel like one of those games where Charlotte just had a really bad offensive night. Like it felt like Minnesota found their defense and found a rhythm and found lineups that worked. So I want to see more of that going forward. I just thought that tonight we did see like the Gobert kind of found his rhythm defensively, especially in the second half. Jaylen Clark, like I just don't even know how you take that guy off the floor going forward. Like he just changed that game defensively. And when it's those two with Jaden, you get a little bit of DiVincenzo, who had a pretty good defensive night after a pretty bad season. Conley, who's been good, if we're going to say how bad he is, usually he's
Yep.
been really good in the last 3 games. So yeah, I think it's not. This doesn't mean that they're a great defense all of a sudden, but it's a building block. It's probably the first building block we've seen all season where they've actually played like 30 minutes of good defensive basketball at least.
Yeah, and just to, I guess, stick on Jaylen Clark here first, he didn't play in the first quarter after sitting for the past, I think, 2 games with a calf strain. So part of me was like, did they just, make him available for in case of emergency? Maybe he's not going to play tonight. But then pretty quickly into the second quarter, Clark gets in and immediately makes an impact. The calf didn't seem to be hindering him at all. Team high plus 19. And his offense continues to be, I think, at least serviceable. Like he airballed a three tonight, but other than that, he was fine. He moves the ball. I think he makes
Yeah.
quick enough decisions. He can get to the rim at actually maybe better than what we saw last year. It just was a concern for me coming into this year. So his offense isn't bad enough to warrant like him not getting at least 20 to 25 minutes per game, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Anthony Edwards out. Like you can argue who should be starting or whatever, but Clark needs to play more, and we saw it tonight. Why isn't he playing more? Next to Rudy and Jaden, it's an elite trio. So hoping to see him more. And yeah, excellent night from Jaylen Clark. That was really encouraging after missing a couple games.
Yeah, so I thought these numbers were really interesting, and they're obviously small sample size and they're noisy. But so the first quarter, Minnesota's defensive rating was 129.2, which is kind of not in line with how bad they've been this season. That's worse, but it's obviously really bad. And Clark didn't play a minute. In the second quarter, sorry, 1 second, I'll just get this up. In the second quarter, he played 7.5 minutes. In those 7.5 minutes, their defensive rating was 61, which is obviously very good. In the third quarter, he played 3 minutes. The defensive rating in that 3 minutes was 28. And then in the fourth quarter, he played 8 minutes. The defensive rating was 116, which isn't great, but it kind of felt like it was almost over by that point. So in that middle part of the game, the Hornets could not score when he was on the court. And obviously some of that was Gobert as well, who was great. Some of it was McDaniels, who I thought looked like he was free from the burden of having to be the only perimeter defender that does anything.
Right.
So yeah, it was a real kind of Jaylen Clark-y game, where when he was on the court, like overall 81 defensive rating when he was on the court. So 81 points against per 100 possessions, plus 19, like you said. So it just, and the offensive rating was 125. So they managed to not only survive him offensively, but play really good offense while he was out there too. And like you said, I just feel like he's a good like connector offensively. He can't really shoot. I don't think it's as bad as it has been this season. I don't think it was as good as it was last season. Like I think he can be like a mid-30s 3-point shooter. But if you get that, you get those cuts that he does along the baseline. He moves the ball quickly. Like you said, he's got that little floater game off the dribble. If he does get downhill, he's not going to try and run a pick and roll or overextend himself or turn the ball over. Like he's just a very safe offensive player and then a wrecking ball defensively. And I think that's what they really need more, Clark. Like I'm getting to the point again of just outlandish Clark takes where I'm like, should he just start the game? Like I just feel like
why not?
Rudy Jaden makes me excited. Like
right.
I just and that's the defensive identity that they talk about a lot. That they want that. I just think that Clark is like an identity kind of builder.
Yeah, in the starting conversation, I just think Mike is going to start while Edwards is out. Just, Finch loves the stability there, but it doesn't mean he has to play more minutes. So I could definitely see, where Clark just plays more around those guys. And he should. He's just such, like, we talked about him in the offseason a lot, where it's like you probably know exactly what type of player he's going to be for most of his career. It's like he's probably not going to be this huge developmental guy that just blows up on offense or anything. But, like, the player he is right now is really good. Like it's a really solid seventh man or starter alongside those guys. So yeah, very excited to see what Clark can do here going out. And just especially with Edwards out, man, like the defensive identity or the identity of the team has to be defense pretty much with Edwards out. And he's easily one of your best defenders. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. Yep.
And he is a guy that you do need to plan around, which is a little bit of a problem because the offense can be hit and miss, and especially the shooting isn't really there consistently. Like it does make sense to put him, I guess, with the starters or just more minutes with Randle and Ant when he's back and McDaniels at the moment, like because you do need to put an offensive infrastructure around him. You can't play him in minutes. I don't think you can't play him a lot of minutes with Conley and Dillingham and, guys who are struggling at times offensively themselves. Like, I think you need to put him around the high usage guys, let them take that big bulk of offensive load, and then unleash Clark on the other end of the floor and kind of try and extract value from him on that end and almost hide him offensively as best you can. And the best way to hide him offensively is to play him with guys who don't really want to pass him the ball anyway, like Randall wants to go and get his. Ant wants to go and get his. At the moment, Jaden is going to get his as well. So to me, it makes sense. You don't have to start him, obviously. Like you said, you can start Conley, you can start DiVincenzo, but I think it needs to be a priority to get him, mix him into those lineups with those high usage guys.
Absolutely. And I guess you mentioned his name, but we'll move on to something I wrote down. This one was easy to take away, but Julius Randle, man, what a revelation he's been. Just what the Wolves have needed, an offensive star with Edwards out, and Julius Randle has been that and more. He had his third 30-point game of the season today. He was averaging 26.6 points per game before today, which is now going up, and that would be a career high. He has been, excellent. 16 of 34, 47% from 3, 8 of 12 from long mid-range. Probably not sustainable, but like if he can shoot 41% from 3 or something, like that would also just be huge, like a giant jump. We've talked about it before where if Julius Randle is hitting the 3 at a rate that is well above average, he's a completely different, better player. We were saying potential all-star this year, and like that's looking like an absolute possibility right now. Julius Randle is putting this team, I don't want to say on his back, just because they've got a lot of other players that are doing stuff in this game. But he's been the offensive star that, he's got a gravitational pull to him, and playmaking's been really good and scoring's been good. Like, I don't have a knock for Julius Randle right now, man. He has been really, really solid.
Yeah, he's just kind of carrying this offense with Ant out, and that's almost diminishing what he was doing with Ant there as well, which was also just being a massive cog within this offense. So yeah, 27 points, 6.5 boards, 5 assists for the season. Shooting 56% from the field, and 47% from 3. So like that's feels a little unsustainable in terms of efficiency, which is natural there, but like that's not even a questionable all-star. Like if the all-star break was tomorrow, Julius Randle might be like a starter level player.
All NBA.
Yeah. So we've spoken about it before. He just looked super comfortable in not only in the second option role, which I think he did look really comfortable, but then comfortable enough to scale his game up, and then even at times scale his game down. Like I think we've seen in this stretch of games without Ant, sometimes even to the detriment of the team, that he's still able to take a step back and let Jaden cook, or let Rob Dillingham take 6 shots in a quarter, or, and that I think shows his comfortability within the team, within his role, within kind of, the status that he has with Chris Finch. He knows that he's not going to fall out of, favor with the coach. He's not going to get traded at the deadline if he doesn't play good for 2 games. And I feel like maybe he thought that last season, even if him and Finch even if him and Finch were kind of very buddy, it felt like the franchise might go in a different direction. But right now you've got this ultra maximized version of Julius Randle, who still isn't a good defender. I thought actually in the first half that was his worst defensive game of the season. Like Miles Bridges was just cooking him. And he was and he has been a pretty, I would say, a bad defender this season, which is not rare on this team right now. Like a lot of players are having down seasons defensively. But he's carrying such a massive load. I don't think he's been like can't stay on the floor bad defensively. And he's obviously been almost can't take off the floor good offensively. So yeah, it's been fun to watch him just find this rhythm, get into this pocket with this team where he knows what he's doing. It feels like he's got, like, unstoppable is a weird way to say it, but it feels like he has these counters to all of his moves, and the team is flowing around those counters, and he knows what to do when this defense happens. He knows what to do when this defense happens, and he's just feeling really comfortable no matter what. So yeah, it's just been fun. I'm kind of not waiting for the drop off in a kind of, preying on his downfall way, but you're just kind of waiting for like, is he going to have a bad game at some point? Because he just seems to be getting better every single night.
Yeah, it's interesting. And like, obviously the rotation's been changing constantly around him too. So to have this consistency, and I almost wrote down like, what's it going to look like when Edwards is back? But I don't really have a concern about that. I think he just fits back right into his number 2 role, number 1 role if Ant's having an off night, or number 3 if Jaden's going off. Like, I've got no worries about Julius right now. And until he has a bad game, like, not really something I'm going to be too concerned about, I guess. So yeah,
there's so many concerns on this team, or there definitely has been, that, and he's not one of them. Like, even when Ant's back, I'm not worried about how he's going to fit in, because we have seen, even with those few games that Ant was there and Ant playing well, that Randle was able to play well as well. So I think maybe moving on, I guess, to another guy who's been really good, who's good in this game, a little bit, slower, but still good, is Jaden McDaniels. That's probably the issue, or the question there is, can they get Jaden to stay aggressive, to stay impactful, to be this third option offensively when Ant is back? Because I think Randall's kind of set. He can be your first option. He can be your second option. Is Jaden going to be 8 points per game when Ant comes back, or can you maintain this 15-point a game Jaden, who's, still a really good defender, and like tonight he had 6 assists, which was awesome to see. I thought he was really like a connective tissue offensively, even though he didn't have the 30-point night. He stayed aggressive whenever they didn't call his number a lot in the first half, but I thought he really sparked that offensive run in the second half by just being involved a lot more and making Charlotte kind of have to defend him as well. So do you think there's a way that you kind of, like, it's hard because there is only one ball on the court. We hear that all the time. But like, how do you get Jaden to stay involved when there is these huge usage bumps for Julius, and then Ant comes back as well?
Yeah, something I wrote down for Jaden was kind of how long are we going to be asking this question? Because it just seems like, I don't know about year after year, but constantly, man, we're like, Jaden is obviously talented on offense. He can get 30 if he needs to. But yet there's just games where it seems like this, where the first half where he's just not involved, and it's very strange. And I don't know, like, I really want to see it. Finch talks more than anyone about like Jaden's offensive potential and stuff, and it just, I don't know if he has trouble drawing up game plans for him or what, but like it's a conundrum. I mean, it's not like a bad it's not like a problem, because like he can do it. It's just like, are they willing to make it happen? And yeah, I mean, I wish I had a better answer, really. Like, we've seen it with Jaden. I mean, it's one of those things where if they need him to do it, he will. Maybe they just need him to do it more often, and they just like need to see that they can call upon him. Finch might need that confidence, and we're seeing it. And a night like tonight where he scored 14, it's not like he went out and missed 10 15 shots and just had a terrible shooting night. He just wasn't super involved. So yeah, I mean, I think he can be that guy. The question to me is just, will he be allowed to be that guy, and how long are we going to be saying, can he be that third guy consistently,
Yeah, and how much leash are they willing to give him? Because to me, it's almost like you need, say 8 to 10 possessions a night where the play is pointed at Jaden McDaniels. Like, I don't think he's not, to me, he's not a free flow kind of scorer, as in, like, I don't think he'll just get his naturally if they're a better.
He can in transition, but not in like.
I just don't think that, like, if Julius and Ant are out there, he's just going to go and take over possessions, because he's a role player kind of at heart, I think, or maybe a role player is where he's been put in his career, and that's the position he feels comfortable, or he slips back into that when there are those high usage guys out there. I think it is a little bit like, I don't think it's on the coaching staff to get Randle and Ant shots. Those guys are going to get shots no matter what. They know their spots. They know what they can do within this offense. They've been there for long enough. But Jaden, I think you need to get him shots. I think you need to almost say, we have this play for Jaden. They have those kind of zoom actions where he comes off a pin down and a handoff to kind of curl into the paint. They have double pin down actions they run for him. And I think those have got to be like in the game plan, as in, like, not let's flow into this occasionally. It's more twice a quarter we're going to run this, and we're also going to maybe once a quarter Jaden's going to bring the ball up and run a pick and roll with Rudy. Like, that's how you get him to, I think, because I think when you get him to stay engaged, he's just better on both ends.
Well, okay, so drawing up plays for like guys to get shots off. I think the Wolves and Finch and the coaching staff have been good at that with guys like, say, Dante and Naz Reid, and their skill sets are different because they can, shoot the three, and they get a lot of plays drawn up where they get the three. Jaden is not someone that I think you're drawing up a play to get a 3 for. Obviously, if he gets an open one, he's going to take it. But I wonder if, like, how different is it getting someone involved in a game plan where their main thing is maybe in mid-range and getting to the paint. Similar with Rudy Gobert. There's a lot of talk about, like, getting Rudy the ball, but it doesn't work nearly as well. This is Rudy's fault mainly, but, like, it's a lot easier for the Wolves coaching staff seemingly to draw plays for guys like Dante and Naz instead of maybe Jaden. So I wonder if that's a play style thing.
Yeah, that is a great point. And I think around the league, it's just easier to drop a play for a 3, because you can kind of have all the screening action going on inside the arc for a guy to pop out of those screening actions and get an open 3. But I think it's more, can you just organize an action that gets Jaden the ball, and then
let him work?
Yeah, with the freedom to be like, we're going to get this action just to get Jaden the ball at the top of the key. Maybe he's got his defender trailing him at this point. maybe, someone's going to come up and set a ball screen after he gets the ball, like, and you can organize the play in terms of spacing around him. Like, can you organize the play where Jaden's got the ball, now Ant's in the corner and DiVincenzo's in the corner, and that kind of clears, those low man positions so that he can get to work and get downhill. Like, he's so good at that little like decel slow step. He got one on Kalkbrenner tonight, who's been awesome for Charlotte, and he's obviously like just a massive human being. Where he took him off the bounce and then just like waited for him to slowly slide by him and then hit the layup. Like, that's the kind of thing that he does all the time. So yeah, I just think it's got to be more intentional with Jaden. Like, and that's on Ant and it's on Julius as well, because they're the guys who are going to have the ball a lot. Like, you can kind of say that Chris Finch needs to draw up plays for him, which I think he does, but can those guys, can they be the ones who call this play out? Like, if Ant has the ball, can he be like, this possession's Jaden's. Let's get into this, guys, especially if Ant's playing more point guard. Like, let's get Julius and Rudy over there to set a screen for Jaden, and let's get him the ball coming off a curl. So that's just something they need to. I do think they need to. I think that, like you said, it's not a problem, but I think it kind of is, because I don't think they're maximizing what they are as a team if Jaden goes back to sitting in the corner.
Yeah, it's a problem that it's like, it's even though it's like a negative, like he's still a really good player. There's just more potential to unlock. It's not like it's a huge negative thing, I guess is what I mean. But yeah,
and this team does need to find those like those little extra potential boosts, because we've seen what they are. Okay. Like, we saw the last 2 seasons what they are playing really well, and they're a Western Conference Finals team who gets blown out. So can you find things within the roster to boost yourself there?
It's also, I mean, he is also being relied upon to be the number one point of attack and like wing defender. So that's where Jaylen Clark comes back in to circle it.
Well, it's not surprising that kind of Jaden had 12 points in the second half, played really well, shot 5 of 7 from the field, while Jaylen Clark played all those minutes in the second half, because it does seem like, you free up some energy for Jaden, you free up some responsibility for Jaden from on the defensive end, and you get a little bit more offensively. It's just a fact of the NBA, that's a thing. So yeah, I just think that it needs to be intentional, because the problem with Jaden offensively, in terms of is it a problem, is he becomes a problem for other players if he's sitting in the corner. Like, that's a problem for Anthony Edwards if guys are helping off Ant. It's a problem for Randle if guys are helping off Jaden, sorry. So if you get him more involved, it can help boost those guys as well, in terms of they're not always, when they're playing, it's not 80% of the time Jaden's defender is causing them a problem. So yeah, that's something going forward that I think, I've been saying it before the season, it's just such a huge part of this season is to get Jaden involved. And he started the season really well. Like, he had 14, 4, and 6 tonight, and it kind of felt like a down Jaden game for this season. So that's a great sign.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the most interesting guy, as I've coined him, on the Timberwolves team, a little Rob Dillingham. He had, I thought, probably his best game of the season tonight. Was it his 4th game getting minutes? I think it was. So Rob tonight's 16 minutes total. He also entered back into the game with 5:30 left in the 4th. He was pulled 2 minutes later, which I didn't like for Mike Conley when it was still like a 12-point game. I just thought we could have given Rob that run, but hey, whatever. But overall, he had 4 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, plus 4. And I think it was a tale of 2 halves for Rob, and I thought it was really impressive. Is there some... Sorry, I thought I heard audio. Never mind. Sorry. There was a video playing or something. It was a tab. Anyways, for Rob, it was a tale of 2 halves. The first half, he came in, and I tweeted it out. He had the worst net rating in the league, pretty much, worst on the team. And he played 30 minutes, was a -11, getting hunted on defense, didn't seem to touch the ball a ton on offense, or just wasn't very productive. I went, all right, this is just more of what we've seen. He's not going to play anymore. Second half, Rob came in and I thought maybe played his best since that Rockets game last year. He looked really good. Defensively, he's just got to be learning a thing or two, man, from Jaylen Clark. Just fly around, be a pest, be an annoyance. You're small. You're going to be really small always. Just get your hand in. And tonight he did. He was a good disruptor. It might lead to more fouls, but it's not like he's playing 30 minutes a night anyway. So be aggressive on defense like he was in that second half. And I thought just overall, he looked a lot more comfortable on offense. When he gets to his shot, mid-range or at the rim, he's looks more comfortable there. Playing around Rudy Gobert certainly helps. I think him and Gobert is better than him and Nas Reed right now. So
Mm-hmm.
very intrigued to see what Rob can do going forward. Yeah, I think he's making quick decisions and hopefully gaining some confidence back after a season last year where he was just, benched. So I liked
Yeah.
what I saw. Don't know what his role is going to be going forward for this season at all, but I'm intrigued as someone who is a Rob Dillingham doubter for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're pretty much right. Like, I agree with everything that you're saying there, that we have to take the good with the bad with him. It's just natural. I think that's the issue that you have now with the fact that he didn't play last season. He's still young. Even if he did play last season, you'd still have to have the good with the bad. And tonight was one of those games where it was a very rookie, young player type of game where he comes out in the first half. He's not good. The team's not good around him. I do think he got a little unlucky that like Miles Bridges scored about 40 points in a row while he was on the court. And it was just him. It was just him cooking Julius Randle. But then the second half, what you mentioned, and I think is a great point there, is playing alongside Rudy. All of his minutes in the second half, apart from that last 50 seconds or whatever when they were playing garbage time, every single minute was next to Gobert. And the team had a 77 defensive rating while Rob was out there and a 152 offensive rating. So plus 74.8, which is ridiculous. And, that's in 10 minutes. So it's not a small stretch for a second half of a game. It's, and every minute was with Gobert, half of them with Gobert and Jaylen Clark. All of them was with at least Gobert and McDaniels or Clark. So you need to insulate him defensively because he's not going to be good. He's not going to be a good defender. I thought he tried really. I thought that second half, like you said, it was like a Jordan McLaughlin kind of defensive night where he was just flying around. He was gambling. And I do like Rob gambles because,
if he's just going to get hunted if he doesn't get.
If he doesn't gamble, if he gambles and he makes a mistake and they score, it's the same kind of result as if he didn't. Yep. Yeah, they're going to score anyway if they do get that matchup on him. So I like the way they switched up their pick and roll coverage. They had him kind of hedging out and then recovering when they tried to hunt him in switches. Instead of conceding the switch, he would kind of pop out, touch. So just say it's like LaMelo. He would pop out, touch LaMelo, get a hand up, and then kind of keep going around the corner and let the player recover who was originally on LaMelo, say, Jaylen or Jaden. That was something they did a lot last season, and I think it works. It avoids those switches. It does put the defense into rotation, which isn't ideal, but I think they preferred to concede that rather than just letting Rob have to defend on an island. And that was part of the reason why that defensive rating was so good. And then you have Gobert, McDaniels, Clark kind of all helping him there. So, a bit like Clark, a bit like McDaniels. He's someone you really do have to plan around if you want to get the benefits that he brings, which is that they play really fast. They get out in transition. He can penetrate the paint and find shooters. And he did that all in the second half while holding up defensively. So, yeah, I agree. I think it was his best minutes of the year. I thought he was good in the Lakers game as well, actually. Not as good defensively. They weren't as creative defensively. But he does feel like he's kind of finding a rhythm offensively. And that's what you need from him. He can't be bad on offense. You can almost survive. It's an issue that he's bad on defense. He's got to
be really good on offense.
It's an issue that he's bad on defense, but he's unsustainable if he's not providing value offensively, because that's kind of where you need to get the value from him. So, and I do think he to me, he does feel, I don't know if this is true because we've never seen it in action, but it feels like he's a bit of a rhythm guy.
I agree.
I feel like in a month, if he had 15 minutes a night or whatever, 12, 15 minutes, I feel like he'd be better in a month than he is now, even with the same mistakes in his game defensively. So I just feel like they need to prioritize him a little bit more. Maybe not a little bit more, but like they did in this game, 15 minutes, 2 different stretches, played him at the end of the game when Mike was kind of starting to tail off a little bit. Bones was unplayably bad in this game. I would probably cut the cord on the Bones thing, to be honest. in the name of getting Dillingham more development minutes.
It's
And
such a weird fit, man. The Bones thing is so weird.
yeah. The Bones thing's weird. Like it is weird. It's weird because I thought Finch had a really like stereotypical first half where he played Bones like 10 minutes in the first half. He was terrible for all of those 10 minutes, but he didn't want to play Clark clearly. Rob wasn't playing very well, but he didn't seem very inclined to let him play through his mistakes in the first half either. But the second half was really good. I thought Finch. It was kind of like the opposite. He took Bones out of the rotation. I think he took TJ out of the rotation completely, which I think is justified at the moment.
Yeah, we'll touch on him.
Yeah, and then he played Rob more. He played Clark a bunch more. He still, he was very selective with when and where he used Mike, and I thought he hit the right buttons with Mike all night. So yeah, I thought it was a really great coached kind of rotation second half from Finch after what I actually thought was probably his worst coached rotation first half of the season. So
first half, now that they won, I think it's fair to say the first half was sore to watch, man. For a lot of it.
And that they need to clean those up because if that's against a good team, they probably just lose that. Like they probably down by 20 at halftime, So, but I think they found. Hopefully, this is them finding something. I think that's what everyone wants to see is like when these young guys play well, when you find a spot in the rotation for them, when you kind of figure some things out with these guys who they need to play well. Let's stick with that. Let's try it for a week. Let's try it for 2 weeks. Like, I don't really like. I think the frustration with Finch from the fan base, and I think with us as well, is that it probably wouldn't be surprising if Bones plays more minutes than Rob next game. Or he starts in that first half rotation. I think if Rob's terrible, by all means you can tinker. That's what we want to see. But I think when Clark's played 6 minutes in the first half and Rob's played 2, that's going to annoy people because you found something. You finally found something this season, which you've been searching for, which is defense with Jaylen, backup point guard minutes with Rob. Let's let that kind of flourish a little.
Yeah, and I'm more of a Bones believer than you. Like, he's a 24-year-old guy that Tim Conley really loves, but also I would rather see Rob over him any day of the week at this. Like, if they didn't have Rob, I'd be saying, all right, let's see what Bones is.
Yeah,
but
I actually kind of like Bones as a player. I just think he's I just don't see the point of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think in 3 years we're going to say, thank God that Bones got those minutes, whereas there is a minute chance that we say that with Rob,
at least. And
and I think there's a very good chance you say it with Clark, who they're playing Rob and Bones minutes a lot this season, in this non-ant stretch. So that and obviously Clark's been injured, so Finch hasn't had the chance. But I just feel like Clark is like a Finch player. It surprised me tonight that he wasn't just in the rotation because he's just such a Finchian guy.
Exactly. And Rob, I mean, he's changing his style of play a lot, I think, which is why he needs minutes. Like, he came into the league, was drafted, and was looked at probably as a guy that's going to be a scorer, but he's got to be much more of a facilitator and score at opportunistic times with this team. So let him play. Let's see what we got with this guy. They gotta. So very intrigued by tonight with Rob. I guess I'll throw one more to you. You got anything?
Yeah, if we just kind of flick through the smaller, or maybe not smaller, but other important parts of this game, is Rudy was awesome in the second half, especially. Changed the game, plus 31 for the game, which was
12.
Really?
Oh, I thought Clark was a team high. Ooh.
No, he was at 19. Gobert was at plus 31, 14, 15, and 5 assists, which is crazy. Made his shots around the rim, which is obviously important. It just, I don't know. Gobert was just really fun in that game.
They don't have a matchup for him.
And he just started contesting shots. Yeah. He was just letting people shoot layups in the first half because he's so scared of his man scoring. You know what I mean? That's his main priority is if Kalkbrenner scores 18 points in this game, that's I've played badly. When I think someone lit into him at halftime. Personally, I think Finch, if not lit into him, at least sat him down and said, "Hey, Kalkbrenner, we don't care. Not we don't care, but if Kalkbrenner scores 0 and we lose this game because Bridges and LaMelo are getting layups, that's still your fault.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and he just started like getting out there. He was blocking LaMelo floaters. He was contesting all of those floaters and trusting guys to get behind him and kind of help him, help the helper. So I just thought he looked awesome. He looked like full defensive player of the year level Rudy, it's a 1 game sample size, but we need that as a fan base. We need to see that, to have hope in
Yeah.
this team.
It's the
Like,
exact type of team and game that he's got to do that in. Like he's got to be
mhm,
one of the guys that just takes a game by the horns and just pulls them, like wills them to a victory kind of. It's what he
yeah,
did in the first 2 years against bad teams. Rudy was just a guy that could push them to victory because he's just a winning player, at least, has been throughout his career. And every step that I thought he's lost this year, he seemed to gain them all back in one day. He was running, man. Him and
yeah,
Conley looked all right in the pick and roll like that.
yeah.
Combined age of 150, and yet they were still throwing it down as an alley oop. Like, all right, Conley and Gobert were solid today. Bad team, bunch of rookies that they were just a million times smarter than. And yeah, I mean, elite matchup for Gobert. Had to have a game like this. Intrigued. Like, he still is capable of being this player on certain nights. Let's just, what does he look like in actual tougher matchups from here on out?
Yeah, yeah. So that's been the problem with him for I think last season as well. That he is
Yep.
really good in these games that they need him to be good because this team's often bad against bad teams. But you do need to see it in against good teams too. Like
Yeah.
they have the Knicks coming up. I don't know when that is. This week, some point.
Wednesday.
Yeah, that he needs to be good in that game. Like you can't keep having games where you just can't, like you're ineffective completely against teams where you really need him to be good against. So, and that's kind of the playoff Rudy conundrum as well. So,
Exactly.
The last one is I think Mike Conley has been good for 3 games. Like he's not getting younger. He's not getting better at finishing around the rim, but he's got back to doing like the things that he is good at. The things that made him at least like the start of the season, he shouldn't have. It was like he can't even be in the rotation. Like it felt like that. Whereas the last few games, it's felt like, yeah, Mike still can't get to the rim. He still can't shoot floaters, but he's making threes. He's not turning the ball over at a crazy rate. He's defending really well.
Yep.
He's still too small to defend some guys, and he's going to get done on switches at times. But like, he's disruptive. He's chasing shooters. He's really smart defensively. So we've seen all of that in the last 3 games, and I bet any amount of money that there's a conversation going on about whether he starts when Ant comes back.
Yep. That was my thing. I was gonna say it's no coincidence that he's doing this after Ant went out and he's back in the lineup. So
yeah, and we've been, like harsh on Mike, and I think the whole fan base has been kind of, the shine's been coming off Mike Conley just because of age, like not because we don't love what Mike Conley's done for this franchise. But it does. I mean, that's a conversation I think should be happening because Dante hasn't been good he was good tonight, but I mean, not good in like the point guardy type of way.
Yeah.
And you have lost the bench punch. I bet that's the crux of that conversation is like last season, Dante, Nikhil, and Nas was such a huge like boon to this team that they would just come off the bench and play really well and. They were fast and they shot the ball, and like you haven't had that this season. I think, I don't know. I don't know what to do with the starting lineup, but I think that Conley or Clark should be starting. I think that
it's going to be Conley.
And I don't think that DiVincenzo's even been like that bad. I think he's been bad defensively. Like I think that's been a big part of their defensive woes is that Dante's not a good defender. Like he tries hard and he like does some cool things, but like he's like structurally, schematically kind of awful defensively. So I wonder if I think you either go full defense with Clark or you try and split the middle with Conley, which is a hypocritical from me because I've been calling for this to not happen.
Well, I mean, it's just so obvious to me that Conley hasn't consistently come off the bench since like 2004. So I mean, it's just not a role he's used to. Like he's been a starter for every year, basically his entire career. So, and all of training camp, all of preseason, it was like Conley's a starter. And then it was just out of nowhere, kind of DiVincenzo's a starter. So Mike's clearly just more comfortable in this role. I mean, switching to a bench role when you've never really done it is probably weird, even for a guy who's as smart as Conley is. So he's just more comfortable. And the minutes were like 11 and then 9 and 20. It's just like, I don't know. Mike isn't great. but if he's going to be maximized, it probably has to be in a consistent role and
if you're
or
not
just
gonna,
not at all.
yeah, if you're not gonna like pull the cord and just be like, we're playing
Right.
Rob 28 minutes, which I think everyone understands why that's not a thing. Then maybe you do just go back to safe. Like it's overly safe to have Conley, but it was the problem was that it was overly safe to not replace Conley in the offseason. Now that he's here, I don't know. Dante looks good.
I think he's better off the bench though. Like I think it's another thing where it's you want to maximize him
in these last few games because he's playing next to Conley a lot. Like he's not playing point guard at all. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. Like he's just it's not a fit with him starting at the 1. It's just not. Even though he's not the point guard traditional, he's still listed as point guard. He's still going to be bringing up the ball once in a while. It's just
I wonder. I wonder how Rob and Dante kind of connect because if Rob can be the guy who gets Dante shots, does that simplify the issue a little bit that Conley starts now, and Dante and Rob and Nas can build a kind of, offensive chemistry off the bench. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of that to have an opinion, but yeah, it's a weird thing. Like I said, I bet they're kind of talking about that as we speak, or, tonight they'll be speaking about that. So Fergie's Big Girls Don't Cry was the number 1 song in the world last time Mike Conley came off the bench.
It's like, what the hell? All right. Yeah. It's like Jake's lost it.
I thought I'm just going to throw this one in there at a random time to see how you react. But,
there was that's how 1 second where I just went, oh my God, my partner, this host, it's over. He's lost it. All right.
I've finally cracked. Chris Finch has cracked me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it does make sense why he feels more comfortable in the starting lineup is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up with something quick. Terrence Shannon Jr. panic meter out of 10. Where you at?
Oh, it's a good. I think if we're talking about I don't know. That's actually
he was the guy we wrote in the preseason as like,
and everyone did. Even Finch was.
Yeah.
Like
as like the 20-minute guy. He might get 10 minutes a game and 10 points a game and just like be great. But defensively, he's been a disaster, I think, and he's. I think I
might be at like an 8. Because he's older. Like if this was Rob or Clark or Berenger who had like a tough start to the start of the season, I would probably say like I'm at like a 5. Maybe this isn't the season for them, but they'll be better. But like it feels weird to be like this 25-year-old shouldn't be in the rotation, but he'll be okay going forward, which he could be.
Right, we could be totally off on this, but yeah.
But I don't want I thought TJ should start before the season. Like I thought he should have been the Dante role instead of Mike. Instead of Mike and Dante, is that like pseudo point guard? But I don't know if this is a meritocracy, he shouldn't play next game, or he shouldn't play when Ant's back. Like if this is a 9-man rotation and Ant's healthy, then it should be Jaylen and it should be Rob.
Certainly, yeah. It's a good point. If you're like you got to pick one to not play, it's him right now. It's not close.
Yeah, like they both fit.
He's not doing anything well.
Yeah, they both fit needs better than him. Shot creation is a thing that he does that they do need, but he's not doing that at all.
Right. Yeah.
And he looks kind of
he's like bad, and he's not. I don't even like notice him when he's out there. And the whole thing about him is like when he's out there, you notice it because he's a wrecking ball at times.
Yeah. He's not adding to transit. Like he's not like increasing their transition offense.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because I really, I don't know.
It makes me miss Nikhil a little bit more because I really thought this guy will just replace Nikhil. Ooh.
Yeah, I really wanted him to be awesome, and he still might be. There's obviously so much season left, but yeah, if you're saying tomorrow, everyone, if it was Game 7 of the finals tomorrow and everyone was healthy, and you had to play 9 players. Like,
I'd probably play 6. Actually, I'd play about 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah. But like Jaylen Clark would be in that 6 even for me. You know what I mean? Like that's how far ahead.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Rob would, but I think Jaylen, if Jaylen just absorbed every minute that TJ gets, I don't think that would be indefensible from the coaching staff. In fact, I think that would be smart right now. So. Yeah, it's a good test to see if he's entered the Chris Finch trust circle. Like the way that Mike is and Dante and all those older guys, and even Bones seem to be in the trust circle. So, because if Yeah, if Ant was back tomorrow, would they? Who's not playing? Because one of these three guys is not going to play. Like they might chop and change
Yeah.
throughout the season. It might chop and change throughout a game, but I just think that Rob gives you the backup point guard, like a guy who can handle he just gives
like
you
they just
point
don't
guardy
have guys
things.
at that spot.
Yeah, and the 8th overall pick, like you still do want to develop that as much as you can. And Jaylen's the winning, like the winning guy, like whereas TJ's kind of in the between that. You do want to develop it. He gives you some pop, but he's not really adding to
He
winning.
might
Like
be just like like last year where he's just like a situational type of guy.
yeah, and that makes me sad. Like I didn't think that would be a thing this season.
Yeah, well,
they won the
maybe
minutes.
we're wrong. Like we're 6 games in.
Yeah, exactly. And they won the minutes he sat in this game by 27 points, and they lost the minutes he played by 10.
Yeah, I mean this is a bad team. He should have been. He was gonna have a coming out party. Hopefully, it would have been today. So unfortunate. But we're gonna wrap up this. We're gonna do a little game previews for next week, or just week previews. Make our picks. See how we did on our picks last week. So go check that one out. It's coming out after this episode whenever you listen. So anyways, any other broad big picture takes before we move on here?
No, I'm just hoping to see more wins. Tonight was fun. It was fun to just get back on the horse of like, some positivity with the team, with us, with just the whole vibe around things. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, Wolves actually sit 9th in the West right now. If the season ended today, they'd play the Grizzlies in the play-in. What a matchup.
Future Timberwolves, Ja Morant.
Yeah, we're actually going to do 10 minutes on Ja Morant right now. Just kidding. Sorry. We're going to go is what we're going to do. So good stuff. Yeah. Appreciate you guys for watching this. If you made it to the end, like, subscribe, go listen to us on audio too. Rate us there. And thanks. See you in the next episode.